All right. Today is a very special episode. Why? Because my new running shoes arrived. Well, they arrived a few days ago, but today was the first day I actually opened the box. And lo and behold, we had the, what are they? Oh, Alphafly, Nike Alphafly, Zoom 2 Next, I don't know, numbers, stuff like that. These shoes were used by Kipchoge to break the 2-hour marathon, and I figured, hey, if I just buy the shoes, I can do that too. I didn't actually figure anything like that. I didn't even know if I'm going to be running any faster, but I thought I wanted to try it. Luckily, we have a nice program at work that reimburses for health type equipment up to a certain amount, and I figured I got some money to spend on that before it expires. Let's go with shoes. I could actually, I have done a video on the shoes, different video, but the shoes are interesting. So today, I think I'm behind miles for the month, so I figured I need to catch up and I need to get some serious lay some serious track tread. What is it? Lay. You know, I needed to go running, and I needed a lot of miles, so I figured today's the day. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. So here we go. We're gonna talk about 3 things. Because I like data, you know, I get data, I can analyze it, I can look at it, and I can make changes based on that data. So it's important for me because lately, last year, we had a few problem runs. I think it's mainly the heat. It was 110 degrees, 113 degrees, and you know, in the past it hasn't been such a problem, but I don't know if I've been running that many miles. And the water fountains were off because of COVID, so that changed the amount of fluid I could drink during the run. And that actually played a huge part. Anyway, nothing major, just some vomiting and muscle convulsions and things like that. The usual, nothing serious. So I figured it was time to analyze more data and figure out just how much water I should be drinking. So part 1 is going to be the water hydration. I don't want to call it dehydration. I'm looking to hydrate, not dehydrate. Avoid that part. Part 2, the whole reason I do any of this is just to burn fat, you know, get a nice tight side, nothing extra. I mean, we all need some fat, but I just like, I'm good with muscle. I don't want the fat. At least I know you have to have some, but I'll take as little as we need. That's my goal. So that's why I do it, really. That's why I like running. And there's other reasons too, but that's one of the main ones. I'm not setting any records. I probably never will. So I have to accept that, even with my $300 shoes. $300! Yeah, I know. And then part 3 is the shoes. Yes, part 2 was the fat. Part 3, the shoes. So how much difference does this make? How long can I expect them to last? So we'll talk about all 3 things. I'm glad you're here. You know, have a beer. Don't have a beer. That's not right. Cut that out. Actually, what I think I will do first is tell you about what I bring on my runs, the things I carried. That is actually a famous book by a Vietnam vet. Anyway, okay, this is like my Batman utility belt in the little pouches. This is very old. I think this is not decades old, but it might be getting close. The zipper barely works. It's just flaying. And sometimes I think my phone can actually be okay in there. And if I'm really jamming, it'll just pop right out. And I'll know because my signal will get lost on my Bluetooth, and I'll realize, my phone is back on the path. That happened 2 weeks ago. I keep chopstick in there. Nice to keep my lips nice and not chapped. I'll keep my phone in here, and I will keep my, what else do I keep in there? Oh, sometimes a power bar. In fact, today there was a power bar. No, there wasn't, because I ate it at home, but I still carried it. That was dumb. All right, so yeah, whatever I need sometimes. I do have one of the ones that go on your arm, but I just found this a lot better. There is a downside, and I'll get to that, but now this is my saving grace. This is everything about being able to do these hot weather runs comes down to being able to carry water. Unless there's like a lot of water fountains, which actually are now, but I have to, yeah. So I get all that, and problem is it does weigh a lot, especially if I try not to fill this a lot of times, unless it's a run where I'm not going to get to those fountains, if there's no fountains, because this puts weight on your left hip, and you got your phone in there and your power bar in there and that chopstick, you saw the size of that. Anyway, that actually can make, can hurt, or not hurt, but mess things up, mess up your hips. Not permanently, I don't hope, but yeah, so that's an issue. I have this is probably the second most important thing, what is it? sunblock, man, I mean, I took all these miles. My mind is actually kind of going now. Sunblock is extremely important. Probably, second maybe to water. But if you do not protect your skin from that sun, sunburns, cancer, I mean, I don't know what to even say. My face, so I will have it all over here, sometimes up on my forehead, but that's not as necessary. Definitely tops my shoulders if I'm running without a shirt. It's so much easier in the winter because I don't have to worry about this as much because I'm wearing a shirt, so there's not as much exposed skin. But in the summer, there's exposed skin because I'm not wearing a shirt when I don't have to. So anyway, it goes all over here, back of the neck, top of the ears, face, and yeah. And then I have to wash my hands after applying because otherwise it's like everything starts to get all sweaty. It's really weird. But yeah, I do not skimp on this. This is cheaper than cancer treatments. I'll say that. I got my shades because my feature's so bright. Definitely more protection against the sun. Just nice. The only downside, of course, is it's harder to smile at people and kind of like, hey, hey. No, I don't know what I'm doing. Hey. Yeah, so that's kind of the downside, but if you work hard enough, you can make contact. And of course, the Raiders hat. Yeah, now I messed up my hair. Where's my brush? Okay. So the Raiders hat, it doesn't have to be a Raiders hat, but you can see, well, you probably can't see, but there's so much like sweat or salt. Well, sweat from the sweat that has worked its way. So these hats just go like, they definitely don't look new after a while. It's not like I just went out and bought a Raiders hat after they won the Super Bowl. Because yeah, this has got some miles on that, so it's kind of just funny. I don't really wash them. It's like, doesn't matter. I wear them for running. So anyway, all that is my protection, and that keeps the sun. Yeah, 1, 2, 3 things that really try and protect my face from the sun. You know, obviously my nose gets it, so I do have the sun block on that. But you're gonna get some sun, and that can't be avoided. So, oh well, what can you do? So anyway, that's the gear. Let's talk about water. Water. How much to fill? Actually, this was a really exciting run because I did learn a lot about how much water I need to be drinking to avoid those problems we talked about earlier, especially on the very hot. When it's like up to 85 degrees, maybe even 90. 85. It's not as important, I don't think, because I don't sweat that much, but when it starts getting 85, 95, 105, 115, then this is huge, and I gotta know how much to be drinking. And again, it's all from the data. So today's run was 20 miles and it was divided into 3 sections, 6 miles, then 6 miles, and then 8 miles. So between the 3 sections, I would come back to the house, I would strip down, get on the scale and weigh myself and see how much I weighed after. I made the mistake of not weighing before the first part of the run today, but I'm just gonna go with what I weighed in the morning, which probably wasn't too much because I didn't really eat that much, which is another thing, but it's not in this video. Now earlier, a few weeks earlier, and I've done it twice now, well 3 times, including today, I kind of estimated that I lose, in hot weather, about a ½ pound of water per mile. So if I go running 6 miles, I can expect to lose 3 pounds of water, or at least 3 pounds of weight. And I'm assuming most of it's water because I look the same, the fat levels are still there. So it's probably water. I just get on the scale after and I check it and boom, down. So I lost some weight and it was water because it comes back the next day once you hydrate. So it's not permanent. You do lose a little fat, but again, that's part 2. So let's just go over some data and see what we learned. What'd you learn, Dorothy? Okay, we start at 166.8 pounds. And at the end of the run, it was 163.7 pounds. So we have approximately 3 pounds lost. There wasn't really much drinking or maybe any drinking of water in the first part. I drank before I left. I drank when I got back. There we go. And that was 6 miles. And the heat, the temperature, 93. I think one thing said 97, but I'm gonna go with 93. Part 2, so I basically hydrate again. I drink some more water and I go out again. However, I basically, after I've weighed myself, I will go ahead and drink and hydrate and then get back on the scale again with my new weight before I go back out again. And it is a pain because you have to take all this gear off and the shoes do not come off easily. And then you have to put your sweaty clothes back on. It's not that much fun, but I do it. The things I do for science. Science. Okay, so what we have now is 164.2 pounds. So I gained about, I don't know, do the math. to start the next run, and I came back at 161.9. So that is a lot, well, somewhat less than the first part. 2.3 pounds lost, and now this is where, once I looked it up, because I didn't know how much water am I drinking during the run. So I figured this time what I'll do is I was going to measure like what's left in the cup, and I realized just take a big gulp, clean my mouth, swallow the water, don't waste it, and just measure how many of those swallows of water I take during the run. And then when I get back, I just have to add those up and find out the weight. So when I did some calculations after the run, I realized a full gulp of water is 55 ounces, and times 4, it actually equals half a pound, or actually much better, it's just that big gulp is 2 ounces. So I would need 8 gulps to be a pound, but again, each mile needs a half a pound. So really, it's not as much as I thought. So I've finally learned how much water I need to stay hydrated, or at least what I think. There's other things to consider, we'll get to that, but I would have to do, 8 gulps of water per mile, and that's actually not too bad. If it's a pound, half a pound per mile. Okay, half a pound is 8, so just 4 gulps of water. That's not a lot. Actually, I thought it was going to be a lot more, but 4 big gulps of water. There we go. And that's actually what I had on the second run. It was 4 gulps, so 0.5 pounds. So we add 2.3 to 0.5, get 2.8, and that is actually close to our, half a pound per mile. Not exactly, but close enough. I don't like it getting too far off, but I'm okay with that. Now let's get into section number 3. This would be the 8-miler. I just figured I'd done 12, add 8, and I'll get 20 miles, and there's my run. There was no way I was going to get to 26 today. And so I did the same thing. I had come back to the house, did the weigh, did a strip down, and I had a power bar, had a lot of fluid, as much as I was comfortable. I didn't want to get too bloated to go out again. And rested a little, and then was back on the road. So we start off the next run at 162.7. We finished the run hours, a long time later, and it was the last 2 miles were just so much pain. 160.4, so now we have 2.3 pounds lost. So this time I had a new system. This was going to be the way I was going to solve the issue of how much water did I drink, because sometimes I just wear the water and I don't actually drink the water, and that helps keep me cool as well. I take off the hat first, but it pours down your back, cools you off. So I had every mile I would have 2 gulps of water, which was interesting because if I had 4 gulps of water, that would be enough. That was the key, having 4, but I only had 2. And so may have suffered a little bit at the end of the run because of that. I don't know, hard to tell, but I did that. So I was running 8 miles, I had 16 gulps of water, 32 ounces, 2 pounds. So we add the 2 pounds back and we've got 4.3 pounds. So oddly, this run had me consuming, I guess, or using, or evaporating, sweating more than my normal half pound per mile. This would have been not too much more, but it's still something. And I think also when I was coming back from the run, I was super slow. I was just taking forever to finish this run because of, it was just so painful those last 2 miles. So I was stopping every half mile, then quarter mile, and it was just going really slow. So that was probably why. I was out there a long period of time. The weather had cooled off. Oh yeah, I didn't remember. So the first part was 93, I think, 92. Second part was about 91, and the third part I think averaged about 89. Really, it didn't cool off very fast, but it was much better. The heat wasn't much of a problem. So now that we got all this data, what can we do with it? Well, I think the next time, I think I am going to try that every mile I'm going to have 4 gulps of water, 4 gulps of water per mile, and then we'll see my weight and see how I feel. It's not just about the weight. I mean, it's about how I feel, how my body's reacting. The goal is to stay hydrated and not have muscle convulsion. I mean, it was weird. It was like every time my muscles would they would start contracting on their own, which is kind of scary. Yeah, don't try that at home. Now, for part 2, the fat or calories, this run was an interesting one because it said I burned about 2,300 calories, and which is cool, yay. But man, 20 miles it does seem to go down as you slow down and get into it, because the other day I had an 8-mile run, it was like 900 calories, whatever, so 918, maybe that actually does work out. But anyway, it is pretty tough. And again, okay, we have 4,100 calories about per pound of fat. So this should have been a little over a half a pound of fat. Probably wasn't, because those calories aren't just, it's not just using fat, there's anaerobic, aerobic, lots of science. So I can't just think I can go out and run enough to burn 100 calories of fat and be down. Actual fat doesn't really work that way, but it's a nice start. It's not like it's all a waste. I think it's a good indicator of progress, because that's what I want to do. I think you've seen marathon runners. I mean, I don't want to go that far, but man, they just, wow, it's just like, because they also lose their, like, you don't see like bodybuilder. So it's something in between is what I'm looking for. Something in between. All right, well, that's it for section 2. It's actually pretty quick. I just there it is, the calories. I only put 200 back during the mile with that power bar. A lot of calories, and I think those do help. Hard to know for sure, but I had started, I guess I will put a little more into it. I started the day, I think I was about 500 calories before the run. So yeah, in no time, within the first hour, I already burned through all that. If you're going what's in the stomach, and again, you know, body doesn't work all the way we kind of want it to, or think it does. But so it's actually, if you did need calories in the stomach, you have to go to last night's food, which was like popcorn and wine. I'm not sure that was the most useful thing, but I did, you know, when things broke down at the end, it wasn't, I was just so hungry. It was just like these joints, things were starting to break down in my body because it's not used to having 20 miles. So it's like 13. It suddenly went from 13 to 20. You can't do that. All right, bing. Well, look at that. I have a shoe in my hand. This is the Nike Alphafly. Again, I bought this because of Kim Jogi breaking the 2-hour marathon mark, and I thought that was so cool. It's not going to do that much for me, but I wanted to see, you know, if it doesn't cost me anything, why not try a $300 pair of basically the best running shoes in the world, arguably. So how are they? They're so different than my last pair. I actually do have my last pair here for shorter. What is this, a cross training episode? I thought of that earlier. I thought I gotta get that in. What is this, a cross training episode? Because, you know, I shouldn't have to explain. All right, now the Hoka 1-1 was my last shoe, and this is about $157 with tax. This is $300 with tax, and this is definitely lighter. And yeah, this is not as light, but it's not like a, you know, anvil. It's not like an anvil either. I don't know why I would want to say that, but it's totally different. So you got two different soles. You've got, I mean, a lot of science went into this thing. It's got this little air pad, I guess. It's got the foam here. It's, I guess, got carbon plate inside of it. It actually, this is, I mean, what a way to break in shoes. Go running 20 miles. Why not? Who doesn't do things like that? Yeah, it actually hurt for my arches hurt for a little while, but they got used to it. That was the thing. My arches, I think, are, because eventually your body wins, the shoe loses, because your shoe will eventually conform to what your feet are doing. So if you've got insole or outsole or pronation, supplination, whatever, there's like some, I got half the word right. Yeah, after a while, the shoes just start to wear out and conform to whatever your foot tells it needs to do. But for a while, I think the shoes win. It's just over time, you know. And of course, the pavement has its will in the shoe too. So, so did they help me go faster? Yeah, I could tell there was a difference. I could tell it helped. It's just with the heat, carrying the water, you know, I'm not a fast runner as it is. So while it did make things a little easier, I think, was it significantly easier than this right now? Yes, because I've got 700 miles in this thing. When this was brand new, then I'm not sure quite as much. But yeah, the weight, definitely I do feel the weight. And those, again, these are twice as much. So what else to say about this? I noticed, like, even after my 20 miles, this isn't gonna last very long. This stuff, it's nice and foam, it's nice and light, it's not gonna last very long. So I don't know, it's cool. I probably won't use this a lot unless it's like special runs or special races, and I can't go I'm not gonna go off-road on these or to the dirt pass, because that's just gonna tear. This is not gonna last long at all. I already can tell. I'm actually kind of shocked. I didn't realize I had done 700 miles in these babies, and yeah, they're really comfortable. In fact, they're so comfortable, sometimes I forget and I end up wearing these around the house or whatever, and I just find, wow, these are very comfortable. My other shoe, I guess they're not nearby. My other shoes aren't bad. Actually, they're Skechers, and they've got, I don't know, they've probably got a year on them now. But this thing, so I'm thinking maybe I'd get another pair of Hoka 1-1s, use that for running, and just these are my hand-me-down for every day. Give you a little extra height too. But yeah, they wear down. I thought this wore down really quickly, but then I realized it has been 700 miles. Okay, there we go. I covered everything I wanted to cover about my running. Is this a hole? No. Actually, I don't know what it is. Okay, I should start that over, but I'm not going to. I think I covered everything I wanted to about running. Yeah, now I know how much to drink. I have a better idea. Actually, I didn't really learn anything about calories. That's what I thought from the beginning. I knew my body's limit is probably about 18 miles right now. I think the last two are pushing myself way past what my body is used to, and that might cost me not being able to run for the next couple days. I don't want to get too much farther behind. Is it further in that case? I think it would be further in that case, because I'm not talking about actually running, I'm talking about a degree of something. Okay, so yeah, I would think 18, and I think because the last time I did 20 was 22 miles, and that was December 19th, so yeah, that's been a while. And I was on a pattern, I was like doing a marathon, and then there was like a 16 and a 17 and a 23 and a 20. I was like way up there, and then, you know, you don't run these distances for a long time, and yeah, you're gonna suffer. So yeah, all right, I think I covered everything. Okay, let's just get everything ready, and we'll go running again. So I'm not gonna do any more videos for a while, at least until something spectacular happens, but we'll see.